to die among friends. Can a man ask more? Can a world offer less? Who wants to live till the last bottle's empty? It's all for one, D'Artagnan, and one for all.
Hey folks, it's Rob from Rob's Movie Collection, and this week on the Genre Files we're doing adventure movies. So I'm happy as a clam on this one because I get to pick one of my favorite movies of all time, The Three Musketeers from 1948. This one was distributed by MGM, the studio that made all those great musicals, and it starred Gene Kelly as D'Artagnan, Lana Turner as Milady, the Countess de Winter, Van Heflin as Athos, Gig Young as Porthos, Robert Coote as Aramis, Angela Lansbury as Queen Anne, Keenan Wynn as Planchet, Frank Morgan, and June Allison as Constance, and many, many other great actors. And, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention how could I forget this? I forgot to mention one of the biggest actors and most important actors in this film, Vincent Price. Hello. Vincent Price as Cardinal Richelieu. And this is Vincent Price in one of his few non-horror roles, but boy, he does a great job. I mean, he's just evil and villainous, and when in the scenes between him and Lana Turner, they're just amazing. The way they get along, and he's just great. He's probably the best Richelieu ever, and this is him when he was younger, before he got into too much of the horror stuff. And you tend to forget that when some actors are pigeonholed in a certain genre, that they actually do some other things, and he has actually done some other things as well, and this is one of them. I love The Three Musketeers. I love the story, and I love this adaptation. This is by far my favorite of any of the adaptations of this story. It really says adventure, and it's so well done. I love the technicolor aspect of it. I love the bright colors. These days everything is so dark. Anytime anything is done, I mean, look at the latest version of The Three Musketeers. Everybody's in black all the time, black leather all the time. Even the superheroes, they often go that way. I remember when they did the X-Men on screen for the first time. They took all the color out of their costumes and made them all black. So I love all the colors in this movie. That's one of the things that I've always loved about it. It takes me back to a time that I wasn't actually around then, but makes me feel a little more positive. The story is done very well. It's pretty close to the novel. Not completely. No movie is, but it's pretty close. It certainly doesn't have a bunch of flying gunships or anything like that. So it's really great. It's got a lighthearted tone to it because it's got Gene Kelly in it, and it's done by the studio that did so many musicals. But at the same time, it doesn't shy away from the dramatic, serious parts. And this story, if you're not familiar with it, it has a lot of serious parts to it, and a lot of tragedy in it as well, especially at the end there. And they don't shy away from that, and not all of the versions have done that. The Disney version changed the ending because they didn't want to go in that direction, but this one definitely sticks to it, and they do such a good job of mixing the lighthearted adventure, swashbuckling type of aspect to it, and at the same time, when it comes to the serious stuff, the dramatic stuff, they commit to it. And it works very well. Of course, one of the advantages of it is that you have Gene Kelly as D'Artagnan, and he uses his talents as a dancer to just play D'Artagnan as nobody else has. The way he moves, the way he fights, and remember, there's no actual musical numbers or dancing in this movie, but the way he does it when he fights and stuff, he's amazing, and he does a lot of his own stunts. A lot of the things that that was the thing about Gene Kelly, and this is why he's one of Jackie Chan's idols. He would want to do things that were a little outlandish and a little bit dangerous, and of course the studio wouldn't want him to do it. And while the producers went to ask for permission or to kind of run it by the guy would just do it. Kelly would just do it and get it done. So you can see that in some of the sequences here. Now, if you're a fan of musicals, especially the older musicals from the 40s and 50s and the MGM ones, you might know this, but a year or two later they made what is considered one of the greatest, or the greatest musical of all time, and certainly I agree with that, Singing in the Rain. And they actually used clips from this movie in the beginning of that movie, because the character, Gene Kelly's character in that film, is a movie actor, and he and Gene Hagen make these swashbuckling type movies, and they actually pulled some clips from this movie and put it in there. The first time I saw Singing in the Rain, I was like, wait a minute, that looks kind of familiar. And so they actually put it in there. It's kind of, I don't know why, but it's kind of neat to see that in there. And so that's a little something, a little trivia there for you, but those of you who are into movie musicals might already know that. Second highest grossing MGM film of the 1940s, and one of the most popular films of 1948. There's a certain innocence to these older films, even though, as I mentioned before, some of the themes in it, some of the things that happened are pretty serious in the film. But I love watching these old swashbucklers and all this stuff like this. And I often watch this one. I've had like weekends, like a Saturday or Sunday, where I'll watch this as a double feature with The Adventures of Robin Hood. And the Errol Flynn movies, those are great. So they're just wonderful to watch. And if this to me is an adventure film, and you don't get a lot of this sort of film these days anymore. I'm actually I've been trying to compile a top 10 adventure movies list from the 1980s, and it's really kind of hard to come up with 10 of them because they don't make really good adventure films anymore. At least it's kind of hard to classify, but this is definitely one of the best ones. I could go on and on about it, but I'll just be gushing like an idiot, or giving you facts that you can just read off of Wikipedia. Better just to watch it. And I'm not going to go into the plot too much. It's just better to watch it, and it's a great film. And yeah, sure, I recommend it. Absolutely, I recommend it. And in fact, I think I may go watch it again. All right, so that's my entry for Adventure in the Genre Files, and I will see you guys next time, and keep watching those adventure movies.